Good morning. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It is Thursday, February 12th. I will note for the record that Commissioner Madeira and myself are here and present in that U-Hill room, and Commissioner Lee Jones is joining us via Teams. Welcome, Commissioner Jones. We will begin with our public statement. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC. And with that, we will move on to our department updates. It looks like we have Ms. Kelly joining us from the Health Department. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a few updates. According to the Indiana Department of Health, we have not seen changes in the number of emergency department visits for COVID-like illness or hospital admissions, but wastewater concentrations have increased. According to data provided by Wastewater Scan for Monroe County, we are seeing high levels of COVID, flu, RSV, and norovirus. The health department now has combo flu and COVID tests for free. The public can walk in Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to receive free tests. And the health department is still transitioning our vaccination services from IU Health Community Health. Our aim is to begin providing these services in mid-March. At this time, the Morgan County Health Department has vaccines available. You can call 765-342-6621 for an appointment.
All right, thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Madeira?
No, I know that several varieties of what we technically call the ick is going around, and so that confirms it. Thank you.
And those combination tests are available at the health department on the corner of 7th and College, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Do you have any questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Mr. Kreider.
Good morning, Commissioners. Richard Kreider, Monroe County Building and Fleet Department. Recently, we requested bids to purchase and install a new generator at the Highway Department, take the existing generator at the Highway Department, and install it at the Youth Services Bureau. Those bids were due at 9 a.m. this morning, and we received two. I'm going to hand them over to Jeff Cockrell.
We'll open them.
And the bid, is for installing a new generator, purchase of a new generator, installing it, and also
yes,
relocating the other current generator. Okay, thank you. I just want to clarify that for the public.
First is from Crown Electric out of Terre Haute, Indiana. It looks like a base bid of $420,000, and then they also responded to the two alternatives. Second bid is from Cassie Electric in Ellisville, Indiana. They have a base bid of $382,000, and they also had a cost for both alternatives. So I guess with that, we'd like to go through these, take these under advisement, and bring you a recommendation.
Okay, sounds good. Commissioner Jones, you good with taking this under advisement?
Yes, I am.
All right, Commissioner Madeira?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Kreider. All right, see you back here in a minute. Any other departments have updates for us? You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Being none, we will now move on to public comment. This is time reserved for items that are not on our agenda. We ask commenters to limit their time to 3 minutes per person and to provide your name and county of residence before you speak. You can raise your hand on Teams or come on up to the podium. Being none, we will move on to our next agenda item, please.
I would like to move approval of the minutes for February 5th, 2026.
I will second that. Any comments, corrections, or edits? Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Madeira?
No.
Okay. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of minutes for February 5th, 2026?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Okay, thank you so much. Next item, please.
I would like to move approval of the claims docket for accounts payable for February 12th, 2026.
I will second that. Ms. Moser, please.
Good morning. The accounts payable claims docket for February 12th, 2026 totals $2,943,359.08. This includes all emergency claims and adjustments.
Okay, thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Madeira?
No, thank you.
I don't either. Let's see if there's any public comment on this. You raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on approval of the claims docket, accounts payable, February 12th, 2026?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Reports.
We don't have any reports.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, we don't have any reports. I should have said that quiet part out loud. We don't have any reports today.
Oh, right. Thank you. Then I would like to move approval to ratify the memorandum of understanding with the City of Bloomington Fire Department for blood pressure monitor distribution.
I will second that. I believe Ms. Kelly, oh yeah, there she is. Ms. Kelly's still joining us.
Sorry about that.
Yes, sir. So this is similar to the agreement that we recently had with Centerstone. So essentially, the health department has a stock of blood pressure monitors that we are able to provide for free for individuals who have been diagnosed or who are being treated for high blood pressure who do not have access to a monitor to use at home. So this is just providing stock.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Ms. Purdy?
I want to explain why it's a ratification. Because that is my fault. It came through the DocuSign process, and I looked at it and thought, oh, I remember hearing about this during a meeting, and the commissioners approved it, so I signed it for you.
Yeah.
So that's why it's now a ratification.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Comments or questions, Commissioner Madeira?
Nope.
Commissioner Jones?
No.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on ratification of the MOU with City of Bloomington Fire Department for blood pressure monitor distribution?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Next item, please.
Yes, I would like to move to approve Harrell Fish Incorporated Preventative Maintenance Services Agreement, Fund Name County General, Fund Number 1000, in a sum not to exceed $205,000.
I will second that, and I just want to note that what I did for the totals is I took their maximum increase, the 3%, added it into the 3 years for each contract and came to that number just because it's clearer. Because these numbers are for the first year that
Okay.
are presented in the packet, so.
All right. What was that total number?
It's a not to exceed of 205,000, which will more than cover the 3% potential increase each year.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, thank you. This is something I discovered last night, so I wasn't going to text you at, like 11 at night to tell you, so
All
thank
right.
you.
Well,
Tell us about it, please.
okay. This request is enter into a preventative maintenance service agreement with HFI covering both mechanical systems in county-owned buildings and kitchen equipment located at the Jail and Youth Services Bureau. The mechanical systems portion of the agreement provides scheduled PM for building mechanical equipment and establishes labor rates for service and repair work as needed. The kitchen equipment portion of the agreement provides scheduled PM preventive maintenance for food service equipment at the Jail and Youth Services Bureau and labor rates for service and repair work as needed. The contract term is 3 years with an annual price increase not to exceed 3%. I think I need to just add here, total term not to exceed 205,000.
Perfect, thank you. Comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Madeira?
Nope.
All right. I have a question, which is, if you decide to get repair work done, does this lock you into only using HFI?
No,
Thank you.
and that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look at things like that.
That's why I asked. All right, thank you. All right. Very good. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Harrell Fish Inc. Preventative Maintenance Services Agreements?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Okay, thank you so much. Next item, please.
Yes, I would like to move to approve Clark Truck Equipment Company Incorporated, Fund Name 2025 GO Bond, Fund Number 4820, in the amount of $5,584.
I will second that. Mr. Kreider.
Okay. Recently, we received 2 new maintenance trucks, and we found that it's extremely beneficial to have a lift gate on one of those vehicles. This request is to approve purchase and install of a lift gate on one of the county's new maintenance trucks. The lift gate will be supplied and installed by Clark Equipment at a total cost of $5,584. This equipment will improve safety and efficiency for maintenance staff by reducing manual lifting and allowing for safer loading and unloading of tools, equipment, and materials.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Madeira?
Well, it's rare that government work is uplifting, but I think this is one of those items. So,
Commissioner Jones? Comments or questions?
No, I don't.
Hopefully the price doesn't escalate as well.
load off our backs.
Any public comment on this item or on our puns?
We'd be here all day if that was the case.
It would. We would for sure. A lot of booze, like, all right, little groans here and there. See no public comment. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement with Clark Truck Equipment Company, Inc.?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much. We got one more for Mr. Kreider. Please.
Yes, I would like to move approve Resolution 2026-01, surplus property for voters registration and the Health Department.
I will second that. Mr. Kreider.
All right, this request is to accept the declaration of items for surplus from the Voters Registration Office and Health Department that are no longer needed for their intended purpose. These items are damaged, obsolete, or beyond their service life, including tables, desks, chairs, file cabinets, and miscellaneous election equipment and supplies. These items will be recycled, sold as scrap metal, or disposed of as trash as appropriate.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Deere?
Nope.
All right. It's like recycling our puns, you can only, at some
Exactly.
point they become surplus.
Yes.
Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. I know the Health Department is going to be especially eager to get rid of this stuff because
Yes.
I've seen the piles.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I don't see any public comment. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2026-01?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Ready, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
Yes, I'd like to move to approve NDOT change order number 8, number 11 for Sample Road Phase 1 and Phase 2.
I will second that. Ms. Ridge.
Good morning. So we have been working on negotiations, negotiations, clarifying dates and such for utility delays on this Sample Road Phase 1 and 2. We did decrease the original amount that was requested by $58,370. So I'm just asking for approval for change order 8 and 11 to try and finish out this portion of the project.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Madeira?
No, I always like to see the words decrease the cost. though.
Yes, that's a nice phrase. Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Yeah. This was a great project, although I know that what it looks like now is nothing compared to the stress that you went through trying to get it done.
Still trying to close it
Still
out.
trying to close out the books. Hopefully this is the end of it, but I bet it's not. No, it's not. I knew it. All right. But thank you for all the hard work because it's not just about getting this road in, which was already a lot. It's about making sure all the fund balances and accounts are tied up. So let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on NDOT change order number 8 and number 11 for Sample Road, Phase 1 and 2?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we have our bid openings for bituminous. So this is for bituminous materials for
Correct.
the year?
It's what we would go and pick up at the plants
Okay, for 1 year.
for 1 year.
Okay, the first bid is from Milestone Contractors.
Cold and hot, or just?
Should be, I believe, cold and
Both.
hot in there.
Okay, so both were on the bid. Okay,
It's been a while since I
okay.
looked at it.
Well, we'll see.
There is a bid for item number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Item 1 would be a unit as a ton. Break to me, but it says HMA surface type B 9.5, I assume millimeter. And that's $63 a unit. And the next one's 12.5 mm, which is 58.5 unit price. Third one is a HMM intermediate type B 12.5, which is 58.5, and HMA base type B 25 mm, which is 58.50, and then a cold mix asphalt pothole patching material, which is 140 a ton. Second is from E&B Paving.
Lisa knew exactly what all this was. She's just like, yep. Me, I'm like, hot or cold? I like the basics.
These are the same item numbers 1 through 5, so I will not repeat those. The unit price for item 1 is 56.25. For item 2 is 52.5. Item 3 is 52.5. Item 4 is 51.5. And the cold mix asphalt, item 5, is $135. Those are all per ton.
Okay.
That is
We'll
bids.
take that under advisement.
And correct me if I'm wrong, when we review these, we typically will review them not only for the cost of the material, but the cost of collecting the material and,
Right, the
and
proximity.
delivering, so there might be different bids per different parts of the county.
That's true, we could do multiple approvals. Okay. So we'll take this under advisement. Do you agree with that, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I do.
Commissioner Madeira?
Yes.
Yep. All right, we're going to take by 2 minutes under advisement. All right, thank you so much. And now we will move on to our next item, please.
I would like to move approval for ordinance 2026-05, amendment to the County Development Ordinance, or CDO, to add environmental constraints overlay exceptions for development and other changes.
I will second that, and we have Director of Planning, Ms. Nestor Jelen, joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here with the packet and just go through some of these text amendments for you. As I go through, I do have 2 outside examples that I'll share just for the public's education. So this is an amendment to the County Development Ordinance 2026-05, and a big portion of this text amendment is to add exceptions for accessory structures and housing additions to the environmental constraints overlay, with some parameters set around that. We also have had various state code changes, and we've also been identifying further Scrivener's errors, with this being a 500-plus page document. So try to avoid them. So this was sent to the Board of Commissioners from the Plan Commission with a vote of 7-0 to 1 on January 20th of this year. And we do have a revisions page in here that can help people just track the amendments over time. So we try to keep this updated with every text amendment that comes before you. So the first change you'll note in the packet in blue, it's just a Scrivener's error correcting the table numbers for the sign chapter. The second change is under the chapter for environmental constraints overlay. So we're changing some wording here from parcels to lots to be reflective of the definitions. And then we also made it clear we currently do have standards for approving an exception similar to what we'll be talking about today, but only for a single-family residence. Once you have a single-family residence on the lot and you'd like to add any accessory structures or add on to the home, then those exceptions currently do not apply. But under the blue text that we are proposing to add here that has gone through the Ordinance Review Committee and the Plan Commission, we're proposing that for an existing lot of record, which currently contains a single-family residence and does not comply with these codes above, which states basically 1 acre of contiguous buildable area, as well as lake frontage, a certain amount of width of lake frontage for a lot. And then also it's stating that you have to basically be on buildable area still. So an exception to the foregoing eco requirements shall be granted to allow the construction of an accessory structure or additions to the residence if proposed, if the structure complies with basically being locating on flat area and not disturbing natural vegetation and steep slope. So the following criteria or parameters for allowing an exception of an accessory structure: The total footprint of the proposed accessory structure permitted under this exception shall not exceed 1,000 square feet, and/or in the case of an addition, the total footprint of the addition to the home shall not exceed 1,000 square feet, and the lot must still have 0.25 acres of contiguous buildable area around the single-family residence. In the event another development standard is not met, this exception would not apply, and the exception does not apply to accessory dwelling units. Just a point of clarification, the reason we're still asking for at least 1/4 of an acre of contiguous buildable is many of these lots are located in a place where they have septic systems. Should that septic system fail, we want there to be enough area to locate a new septic system. We were asked to look at some 2025 BZA examples to see how many of these would qualify for the exception. The first, it needed a side setback variance. As you can tell, the house is very close to the northern lot line. It also had 0.24 acres instead of 0.25 acres of buildable. And also, but the addition itself was not overly large. It would have otherwise qualified had they met their side setback from the north and had a little bit more buildable area, it could have qualified. And then here's an example where the lot is completely flat. It was only 1/2 acre, so they did not meet the residential density requirement of 2.5 acres. But the development that they were proposing was very minimal. It was less than 200 square feet. And so we were able to see that if this were to go through, we would be able to allow them to do an exception and not require the variance process. And this was approved by the BZA. Another example where they had 0.78 acres of buildable in an Eco 2 area. They wanted to put in a 555 square foot in-ground pool, which was determined to be on flat ground. This again would qualify for an exception, but was approved for a variance in 2025. And then lastly, there was an example whereby a homeowner wanted to do both a housing addition and also a pole barn that was 3,456 square feet. This would not qualify for the exception because of the size of the accessory structure being over 1,000. So this was an instance where I believe they ultimately redesigned the project after the BZA continued this case, and they dramatically lowered the size of the accessory structure, and they were able to come to an agreement and get approval, but not for this exact proposal, but this would not apply for that exception. So in doing that addition of information for the exception, we added a definition for footprint, which is here on the screen. And this will help us in determining how to measure that footprint. We really just care about the ground disturbance. So second story would not count against a person. And then under Chapter 841, with the passage of a recent House bill, and now it's codified, we are separating our permitting requirements from the building department and making sure that it's clear that before they can apply for the planning permit, that they must file for a pre-design. This has been working out well to streamline them to have a complete application and make the rest of the process more smooth. And then we're also adding in Chapter 841 for wireless communication facilities, if there's going to be a modification within a fenced lease area, that includes the addition of structures, they do not have to apply for a site plan as long as they otherwise could get an improvement location permit or a planning permit waiver. And I have an example here where if there's an existing cell tower, we'll often get like 120 square foot generator request. And so in that case, if it's within the fenced in area, and otherwise a built-out wireless communication facility for which we've previously approved a site plan, we would not require another site plan amendment to look at that generator. And then a Scrivener error here, we're just changing design to development. And with that, that is all I have.
Great, thank you so much. Before I move on to comments and questions from my colleagues, we were very pleased to have Commissioner Jones here today, and I was wondering if it's possible to go back and do the sliding scale if my colleagues agree to put it on the agenda. Would that be something we could do today? Would that be amenable? Thank you so much.
Sure.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, with that, Commissioner Jones, do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
Commissioner Madeira?
Nope.
I don't either. I've seen this a lot, and it is kind of the stuff that has to get done. And I know we're going to have more coming with, as a result of state legislation, state legislative changes, and that's going to have an impact on what we do. But let's go to the public and see if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of these changes. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to these revisions to the county development ordinance? Any other public comment on this item? You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Right. Thank you for that. Are we, any other comments from my colleagues? Commissioner Jones, comments?
No. Nope.
Okay. Commissioner Madeira? Nope. No? All right. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2026-05?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right, thank you so much. And now I'm going to ask that we amend our agenda to bring back to the floor ordinance 2026-01, amendments to the sliding scale subdivision ordinance. Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Thank you, Ms. Jelen, for being willing to work on the fly. It's great. Please present all the information we need. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the motion to amend our agenda? Sorry.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you, Mr. Cockrell. I felt like something was missing. All right, it's not just that we're adding this item, it's, thank you.
Okay, so this is another text amendment. This item was tabled from when we originally passed the county development ordinance on December 18th, 2024. It was a item number 1 of priority for the Plan Commission to review because it was something that came up and was addressed by the public during their comment. And it was largely regarding the sliding scale subdivision and the 25-year reservation of the parent parcel. The Plan Commission did forward this text amendment to the commissioners with a favorable vote on December 18th, 2025, 1 year later, by a vote of 5-4. This text amendment, I will say, has gone through several different boards and committees. I included a cover sheet here with a lot of great information for people that want to follow along. But basically, we're looking at over 10 meetings for which this was discussed. Ordinance Review Committee definitely saw it the most, but then the Plan Commission administrative meetings and regular meetings of the Plan Commission did see it twice. So we did receive public feedback at one of those. But I just want to go with some key takeaways, and I'll just summarize it here for the public. Basically, the Plan Commission at the end of this discussion did put on a separate list. We have a staff list of future talking points and CDO amendments. So we are still looking into potentially looking at the ordinance in terms of ability to vacate and re-subdivide parcels, as well as the ability to potentially add another subdivision type. So that was something that came out of this discussion after we talked about how the ordinance is currently written. The Ordinance Review Committee was asked after the first meeting of the regular Plan Commission to really hone in on the idea of 25 years, generational, things like that. And the Ordinance Review Committee did look up definitions, though not incorporated in this text, about what a generational term is, because that was something that was used a lot in kind of defining or reminding the public why the 25 years was chosen. So we did find, the Ordinance Review Committee did find language that it's basically between a 20 and 30-year time span, 25 being the midpoint. And also that there wasn't really another great way to, other than that year-based, there wasn't really a great way to otherwise do a hold on that parent parcel that was clear to the public. So there were no changes made after it was forwarded back to the ORC, and it came back to the Plan Commission, and that's when it was basically sent to the commissioners, you all, not with much change. So all of that is here in this background document, but I'm going to go ahead and go over the list of changes that we have before you today, and if approved, this is what the text would look like.
Yep. Ms. Nestor-Jean, could we?
Yeah, I think it's important that we did hear this at our work session on January 15th, 2026. So if you want to follow along, that packet is found in the meetings and commissions meeting for January 1 or January 15th, 2026
Right.
work session agenda. So
Right.
just kind
That's a good point. And it's also in last week's agenda when we continued it from. So it's also in that packet. It's also in last week's packet. Thank you. That's a good point. Thank you.
So under Chapter 831, one of the things that came out of this discussion was that we want to make sure that it's clear what types of options people have available to them right now and what those options ultimately look like on the ground. So the first example is the minor subdivision, where you create at least lots that are 10 acres when they're connected to a septic system. So in this case, they would have had at least 40 acres, and each lot that they created is 10 acres or more. The second example is when you have a minor subdivision that is connected to public sewer, so you can get a lot closer to the minimum lot size for the district. This is a commercial development that was able to create 4 lots. And then this is an illustration of a sliding scale example. It's a pretty popular subdivision type that we see, but basically they're able to create 3 lots that are 2.5 acres, which is the zoning minimum, and then reserve the 55% or more of the rest of the tract for a period of 25 years. And that's also in a rural area connected to a septic system. So you do get the 3 lots that are smaller, and then you get the larger lot for that parent parcel portion. And then here's just an example of a major subdivision where you're connected to sewer, and you have lots much closer to minimum lot size for a district, typically in more urban areas. So the other thing that was amended was to the purpose statements of the sliding scale. The black text is still kept as it is right now, and then they added 2 other purpose statements. So number 7 says, allow the flexibility to create smaller residential lots served by private sewage disposal systems, i.e. septics, while also preserving a majority of the original tract for agricultural or conservation purposes, which kind of hones back to why the sliding scale was created back in 2015. And then number 8 is to permit development in rural areas that will not overburden existing infrastructure and services, and to not adversely impact existing low-traffic roadways, police and fire coverage, emergency service response times, and other governmental services. And then there was also a change under the area of the text regarding the 25-year reservation to make a reference back to the original ordinance, Ordinance 2015-02, which was linked in the packet that Mr. Cockrell mentioned, that created the sliding scale. So it's a way to look at when the sliding scale option was originally created. That has its history located in it as well as a recorded document, and we thought it was appropriate here as well to bring that back in to say this is how long this has been around and that people can look into that themselves. And with that, the rest is just exhibits. I'm happy to go through those if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Madeira?
I do. I have to say I've thought about this a long time. I've thought about it since I attended the CDO hearings. We're the only county in Indiana that has this particular critter, and I have a lot of respect for the Planning Commission. I have a lot of respect for our planning staff, and I have a lot of respect for my colleagues, and I understand the reasons that motivate this, but I do have some concerns. And I think there's a reason why we're the only county in Indiana that has this particular beast. So I just wanted to share those concerns and take a few minutes to do so now. I am concerned it depresses land values and flexibility for a long time. Even if the owner only wants to create 1 to 3 lots, the remainder is effectively encumbered for about 25 years. I'm concerned this can reduce marketability and financing options because buyers and lenders really dislike long government-imposed recorded restrictions. I'm concerned it frustrates ordinary family and farm planning. So a common rural pattern is incremental and intergenerational division. So the 25-year bar forces families to either subdivide all at once, which is often not desirable or feasible, or to wait decades. And so there's a big reason that the rule gets framed as overreach in public debate. I'm concerned that it feels arbitrary, and this is why I think that it had this sort of 5-4 split on the Planning Commission. When I went back and watched a lot of the meetings, it reflects that commissioners and not commissioners, but planning committee members and stakeholders have really questioned whether 25 years has a clear rationale. Lots of people have suggested shorter alternatives or a new category. I think a rule like this creates incentives for workarounds and strategic behavior because when a rule is blunt and long-lasting, people look for ways around it, like sequencing splits, rezones, seeking sewer connections solely to unlock subdivisions that can increase administrative burdens and create perceived unfairness between similarly situated owners. Particularly because this restriction or other restrictions like it can be lifted by later ordinances through a political process, which invites concerns about unequal access or inconsistent outcomes. I'm also concerned it might be legally problematic under substantive due process arbitrariness because land use regulations are usually reviewed deferentially, but they still need a rational connection to legitimate purposes, such as infrastructure capacity, rural character, and environmental constraints. And I'm concerned here that the vulnerability is that 25 years can look like a number picked without evidence, especially when local officials have debated spaces so thoroughly. We do try to preempt this by inserting legislative finding of necessity and reasonable trade-off, but I'm concerned that we might not have a robust record supporting that. We have a restrict on alienation and forced recorded covenant-like restrictions. This can be attacked conceptually as an unreasonable restraint. It binds successors. It can't be altered except via sewer connection or legislation. That doesn't mean it's automatically invalid. Indiana allows many land use restrictions, but the 25-year freeze is what could invite the argument. We could have statutory authority or ulterior vires challenges. The challenger could argue that the county has created a de facto long moratorium or on an otherwise lawful future subdivision through the plat process. I think that would be something we would handle if that came, and we could have a takings challenge. This, I think, would be a stretch, but again, if the restriction is characterized as exacting a significant property rights concession, then the plaintiff might try to analogize this to an unconstitutional condition or regulatory taking. This is not an automatic winner. It would be a fact-intensive claim, but it would be what triggers the claim. So I would deal with these issues through variances instead. With that, I will conclude my remarks, but that is why I think I am concerned about this. But I say this with a great deal of respect for the decision-making process. I know this has gone through a great deal of debate, and I say this with a lot of respect for that process and for my colleagues and for the Planning Commission and the planning staff.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones, any comments or questions?
Yes, I do. I was actually a member of the ordinance committee when this ordinance was originally created and passed. And the purpose of at that time, there was a whole lot of concern among mostly farmers that they wanted to be able to cut off a small parcel for children or possibly parents to live on and yet retain the rest of the farm. And I think this has been pretty effective in doing that. I'm not going to try to address a lot of legal arguments. I don't have that background at all. But I think that this ordinance, the 25 years, was something that was heavily debated for a long time and was basically a compromise in the generational period of time of 20 to 30 years. I have a lot of concern with changing this ordinance from the purpose that it originally had. One of the other purposes it had was at that time we had a proliferation of rather large subdivisions that were way out in the county, and it was difficult for us to provide the services for these subdivisions. This was a way to allow families to subdivide for their use without really creating a huge new area that needed to be serviced by the county. So I am not in favor of these changes. I think they move away from the original purpose of the ordinance. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. For me, these changes are minimal. And one of, I think, the biggest benefits of the text amendments that are presented here is that it clarifies the things that were raised. Oh, what's a generation? Well, right now it's 27 years across the U.S. But, you know, that changes. I mean, we had questions that just were, I think, meant to bog down the process unnecessarily. But the purpose of this doesn't change, but what does change in this ordinance is it outlines all of the other options at the same time, which is something that I think is really beneficial for the community, so that they can see, here are my options all in one place. And so for that reason, I do support this. I appreciate, Commissioner Jones, that you raised the historical significance of this. We were hearing from large lot owners who didn't want to go through that process of a minor subdivision because they wanted to sell a corner of the property for retirement, or they wanted to give it to their child, and that it was such an onerous process. And so what sliding scale does is if they follow all of the requirements, it bypasses the Plan Commission process, and it essentially becomes an administrative decision, which is a great benefit to the community. If folks want to complain about having the sliding scale, my take on it is then we just can delete it, but I think that limits people's choice. And if this is a choice people want to take and they want to sell or utilize these properties, and by the way, a couple of things that came up that were inaccurate, and this came up in 2024 as we heard from folks during the CDO review process before we actually brought it to a vote here. You know, people had decided, I think it was the Bloomington Economic Development Corporation, there's some others, they put out this, you know, white paper, well-intentioned, but there were things in there that were inaccurate. And so what they had thrown people into a tizzy about was oh my gosh, you can't re-subdivide your land for 25 years. It's only in sliding scale that this is true, because you can imagine that if somebody has 100 acres and they use the sliding scale, if there isn't some hold put on that, what's called the parent parcel, the large parcel, which can be farmed, it could be conservation, it could be land that you really can't build a house on, that prevents that person with the parent parcel from coming back next year and doing another 5. And that would just be a major or a minor subdivision. And so what we tried to do is offer to large lot owners, because in 2014 when this started and in 2015 when it was passed, that's what we were hearing. But why can't I just carve off some land for a relative? Why can't I just sell this corner of my lot? Why do I have to go through this whole process? And all of these parcels do not have to be built at the same time. They don't have to be developed at the same time. They're marked out. Actually, the septic piece of it has changed a bit, so it's even less onerous. Doesn't require a septic permit at the time of the subdivision, but at the time before you build. So that's even easier and better and clearer. It makes more sense. So all of this is meant to benefit people. And if you don't want the sliding scale, don't use it. Go with the minor, go with the major. Those things are there and they haven't changed. And changing that to a shorter time does invite what becomes a major subdivision without infrastructure being built on a huge piece of acreage. And we do need to preserve our agricultural land. We do. I don't know where people think food is grown, but we do need to preserve our agricultural land. So that is really, really important for us to do. Now, if we don't pass this, what happens is the explanations disappear and the options, sliding scale, major, minor, disappear from the CDO. The CDO would stay as it is, which is fine. We keep the sliding scale either way. I just think it's better to offer more information rather than less. And it is a unique thing in Monroe County, but we are proud of our uniqueness, and we're proud of the fact that we're not just doing what every other county in Indiana does. We do have a very unique landscape, and we do have an economy that includes agriculture, as Commissioner Jones knows. So I would prefer to pass this to get these explanations in, but if my colleagues would like it to stay as it is, that's okay too. Either way, we end up with sliding scale, which to me is the point. And I'm glad we have this, and it's an option. It's not a requirement. And to remove an option from people who are property owners in Monroe County on large lots, I think is unfair to those property owners. They don't have to use this, but I think it's unfair to remove an option from them that is clearly something that benefits them and can be done with expediency without going through the Plan Commission, as long as they're following all of the requirements of the sliding scale. So it's a workaround for them to avoid having to book into meetings. Anyway, let's go and see what the public has to say. If anybody wishes to speak in favor of this item, you may come to the podium or raise your hand on Teams. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to this item? Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. All right, come back for any final comments or questions. Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I'll say that your arguments were very persuasive. And I do think that it does help a whole lot to have the extra information there for people who are interested in using this method.
Commissioner Madeira?
I'll just say again that I know a ton of work went into this, and I really, really appreciate all the meetings and all the dedication of the planning staff and all the time and labor that was spent studying this very, very complicated topic.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2026-01?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Madeira,
No.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 2-1.
All right, thank you so much, and thanks for bringing that back, Ms. Nestor Jelen. All right, so we don't have any appointments today, but just a reminder to folks to please sign up for the Monroe County Alert Notification System, in.gov/county/Monroe. It's right on our landing page. You can receive information on emergencies, road traffic, health issues by text, phone, and or email. There are free COVID/flu tests available at the Monroe County Health Department, 119 West 7th Street. It's a corner of 7th and College. And we are continuing to accept applications for boards and commissions. We do have openings on health, both the Democrat and Republican seat, the library board. So I'm hope that folks will start applying. We always have openings on animal management and the regional sewer district. And I don't know why that is, but we do. So if anyone's interested, please go to our website and seek out the application there through the search engine. We do have office hours each month on Teams 6 times each month. You can go to our calendar on our landing page, in.gov/county/Monroe, and look for dates and times. Outside of today's blood drive, the next blood drive that we're co-sponsoring with the Red Cross and Ivy Tech, Tuesday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., Wednesday, March 4th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Please go to redcross.org to make an appointment. I was going to say a reservation, but I think it's an appointment. These blood drives are held, thank you, Ivy Tech, these blood drives are held in rooms C130A and B at Ivy Tech 200 Daniels Way. Our next meeting is going to be February 26th. And do you have anything else for good of the order?
Yes, actually, I had heard that people couldn't find where we were, the link to our office hours. And so I was just going to say real quick that if you go onto the county website and you scan down, there is a calendar and it has links to all of our meetings. So you can actually find any of our county meetings that way. You'll see a little join this meeting link. And our office hours are no different. You'll see a list of the events for that day, and it'll say Commissioner Office Hours, and you can just click that link, and it'll bring you right to us, and we're waiting to hear from you. That makes us sound like a telemarketer or something.
It does. We won't charge you much, though.
Right, exactly. Yes, great price of free.
Yeah.
And I also heard some interesting news, actually. ICE is releasing a property up in Carmel, Indiana.
Oh, they're releasing it.
They are leasing.
Leasing it.
Yes, it was announced on Monday. They're starting to lease individual properties, and so that is interesting. So I think that I'd heard a lot of discussion about when ICE is coming to the community in various forums, and so that will give them a bigger link in Indiana. So for those of you listening, that is concerning. Very.
That's a mild statement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And talking about mild, it is on the good side, it is wonderful to actually see the snow melting and thanks to everybody in the community for being patient with the snow, but also thanks to the wonderful county workers for getting the roads cleared and everything like that.
Yeah.
So
Highway's done an amazing job.
Absolutely. Yes.
But do watch for potholes, because what's happening
Yes.
is it's freezing at night. We've got
Yes.
very wet roads and a lot of flooding.
Yes.
That's the other reason you want to sign up for the alert system, because
Yes.
we are supposed to get a lot of rain, potentially a lot of
Right.
rain this weekend. So it's a good idea to keep your eyes on that. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very concerning. I did hear about
Yes.
that. I thought you said released, and I thought it meant like they weren't going to lease that space at Carmel, and I was excited for one
I
brief
wish,
moment.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, thanks to our city colleagues, because I saw them out yesterday filling potholes on Sayre Road. So they are already on that.
Yeah.
A lot. Yes. Yes, there are. There are.
It's cold patch for now, though.
Yeah.
It is cold
And
patch,
that's
and
very
cold patch
temporary.
does not work well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Cold,
But it can
it's
still
better
save
than
on
nothing.
tires.
But
Yes.
it's nothing. Better than nothing. Anything from you, Commissioner Jones? Okay, great. So we do have items for our work session. Can we come back at 11:15? TSD, is that okay? We're good? Yep. Good. Thumbs up. Yep. Good. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Excellent. Work session at 11:15. See you then. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, TSD. Thank you, Katz.